early in the morning. I'm still woke up feeling disappointed. Nevertheless, this is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. Maybe concerning say that yesterday, but no, I'm still feeling disappointed. And now I'm disappointed for other reasons, or feeling disappointed, should I say? I'm thinking back, of course, on the boys still got dad. And reason, and that's the thing, I don't like thinking back, but just, I guess, kind of reminding myself of reasons why I don't like him, and I don't want to be around him again. It's not saying that I will or I am, but yeah, if the opportunity was presented or anything like that, let the record show. Why I don't want to be around that person anymore. I mean, and there's plenty of them. Or it's the STDs, the rape, of course, just cheating, period. But, what else? That was something that I was just thinking about. That was just, the CPS cases started when I had another child with him. And then they just like tried to keep coming every time. Even my own so-called mom has said, I'm going to call CPS on you and this, that, and the third. Or call CPS. I don't know if she said on me, but basically. And just, to me, even just it was just the most outlandish thing to say you going to call somebody that could take my kids, which, of course, I feel like and believe they definitely shouldn't so easily be able to take anybody's kids who had them. And thank God that it wasn't just I will walk in and take them. It has to be something. But like I said, that was one thing. The CPS cases started. One time he pulled up and he left our son, and I was home, but he left our son just out there on the porch. Cause I didn't open the door, and I mean, and people can think that makes me a bad mother or whatever, but that was just me holding him accountable. When your son or your child doesn't get in safely, you do not just leave them. And that was just one thing. I was standing there watching over my child or whatever, but still, you don't just leave them. And I just feel like that was that was me contributing to training you in the black community and just period in parenthood or whatever. And, even though I wasn't setting out to train him or anything like that, it just happened that way. I think we train to teach each other. But you don't never leave your child just on the doorstep. When you the parent, it doesn't matter. You don't do that. You always make sure they get in safely. I mean, and if you can, you really supposed to make sure that you make contact with the other parent. And of course, that don't happen because you got these broken households and broken relationships and stuff like that. But anyway, and so of course, on this day, his so-called aunt was sitting outside across the street. Well, it wasn't a day; it was night. His so-called aunt was sitting outside across the street, and so everybody was just trying to hold me and my household accountable, but not him. And she was just like, I can see if he was. I mean, it was just the frustration in her voice. I can see if he wasn't at home. It doesn't matter whether I'm at home or not. If he's the dad, then if I am at home and I don't open the door, we wasn't on no set type of agreement or nothing like that. You take your child until the next time until the next time I open the door. So that's what made him pull off, because she was sitting outside. He just left his son because she was sitting outside. He did not make sure that he got in or nothing like that. And so, of course, I'm gonna let my child in. But but it was a little test run or whatever to see, and he failed. And then he So he already allowed for that third party to get in. She was sitting across the street, but at the time it was her husband or whatever. I don't think he said too much. She called the police anonymously. Then the police showed. But I know it's you because you're sitting right across the street. I'm not stupid. Then the police showed up here. They just kept on. They kept accusing me of calling the police on him. Everybody. Well, from that household anyway. And then they just kept calling the police for it could be any little thing, baby. I'm telling you, the smoke not coming out my out of my lawnmower right. This time they done, doing other stuff regarding the lawnmower. But anyway, um police came. Of course my son was in the house by then, sleep, and then they called themselves trying to investigate whatever. And so of course that allows for them to come in and do all that. And of course they report stuff to CPS after that. So when they did that, I said, well, their dad left them on the porch. Either way it go, if I don't open my door, he's the parent and you're supposed to go ahead and take your child. You got to put the responsibility on these men as well regarding these kids. It's not just for the moms, but these are females that uh, I can see if you would. I can see if you wasn't home, and honey, and if I'm good and home, they're not gonna be. You don't force no child on. Even though that's my child, you still not gonna force the child on me because I didn't have this child alone. So she was being meddlesome then, and of course it's not about her. It's just that's where it went, sadly. But that was that. When he did that, it was stupid. You allowed for her to get in. You allowed for the police to get in. You allowed for CPS, and so I flat out gave him his name, his location, his whatever I knew about him. Go on and hold him accountable. Go on ahead and you getting him to sign some paperwork and stuff. So they came up to his job and stuff like that. I don't care. I'm not gonna just do no mess like that to me. And so of course my daughter had to get investigated too, which she's by somebody else, and I felt the type of way like, oh my God, do not bother with that whole situation. Then her so-called dad was like, what are them people calling me for? And this boy, I don't know. I don't care. For one, him for him to be asking and even acting like he had a care and a concern. When I call you, you know what I'm saying, you don't get no tone like that. But you worrying about them people. Uh you're not doing what you're supposed to do, evidently. But anywho, so yeah, CPS cases started. That was one of like, oh my gosh, like I guess 4 or 5 times it was investigated. This one girl that was standing over here, she was like, I done been investigated 100 times. And I'm like, what? But anyway, uh, that kept happening. And then there's just another time when he was just had this look in his eye. I was like, y'all just continue to call CPS. Might have been his so-called mom or just people that he put up to it or whatever. And honey, and ain't doing no type of health checks, no nothing as far as now regarding my kids and stuff like that. Ain't doing that. And this the thing, you even calling a third party to go do something that you should already be standing there. You should already be doing. It just never changed that the responsibility was yours to take care of your kids, and that's just period. So even today, still, God knows his location, God knows whatever's going on, held accountable. Um, yes, I do feel like regarding any stress I feel because knowing I gotta watch over my children and knowing that I'm just of course I'm going to. That pressure is definitely on me to do so, but also, I could be that person to just let go and just say forget it. You know what? You know what? But the one thing about it is I love my children, and that's just I love my children. I don't want to be away from them. I don't want to be separated from them. I have been that one time or whatever for them 5 days, and then the 5 days turned into what is this? It's a year and 6 months regarding my daughter. Coming up on 2 years. So, and so that's why I don't want to deal with. That's one of the main reasons why I don't want to deal with him ever again. I mean, and not that I am, and I'm glad that I got past that. It took me a while to get past it, but I would never want to get past that just to feel like I got to do that ever again. Um, and like I said, some people was like, you can do better or whatever. His daughter's mom said you could do better, and then of course the so-called neighbor, you can do better. These was people that said this, and I didn't even ask their advice and nothing like that. But it has to be when I feel like I can do better and want to actually do something different, should I say? Um, because again, just the way my loyalty is, that's just how it was. Like I'm going. I ain't say I was gonna ride or die, and I ain't say I'm riding it to the end, but I was gonna definitely ride. Like I just didn't feel like you just keep jumping person to person and stuff like that. But anyway, so that's one of the major reasons. Of course, the verbal abuse. Of course, I already said the sexual assault and stuff like that. Um, I don't know if I'm the only one that's not getting anything, any child support or anything like that. Meanwhile, he off living and doing whatever. Who knows? I don't know. Cause yeah, of course, at one point in time, a female was basically taking care of him. It seems like or whatever. And I don't know. I guess he was at least trained in that on how to get some female to take care of him. It wasn't gonna be me. I was being helpful to him, but it wasn't gonna be me being And that's so funny because I told him before. I told him a long time ago when we was young. I was like, I'm not a home wrecker. And he was like, you a home helper and this and that. And that's my thing. Yep, speak stuff like that over my life. But I'm not here to help your a home that you're in. It's gonna be another third party and stuff like that. So anyway, I just kind of woke up with that on my mind and like just all the other stuff. Honestly, today I feel like dealing with him it led to just the fact that I got boys with him, two of them, and a lot of people want, a lot of people want, whether male and female, they want boys and stuff like that. But I just felt like he had these boys, and it's like he tried to make sure that they're a waste of seed in one aspect, should I say. At least one. I don't know if not other ways, but I'm like, what kind of mess where you don't interact with your children and was up close, it's somewhat up close and personal. But even when he like I said, he would just take if he had any of his daughters here, he would just take them and just walk out the door when he get upset or feeling a type of way regarding me. Just walk out the door every time. Like I was talking about yesterday, it was him wanting cable here or whatever, and I had already had it, and I just wasn't something I could afford, so I wasn't gonna get that. We just had to ride it on out. That was just one of the sacrifices. We had food, we had utilities, but I wasn't gonna get no cable. And then he wanted to get it set up illegally here, and I just was like, no, I don't want to do that. And it was a reason why. And he didn't take the time to sit down and ask me why. Why don't you want to? What's the problem? He just up and left. Um, just that. Now when he wanted to pay for it and get it up in here, he got something, a phone, the internet, and I think it was, I don't know if it was Netflix or it was something. And he paid for it, and he only paid for it for himself. He paid for it so he could play his video game. We, of course, utilized it, but he paid for it for himself. So he tried to have a setup like he was a single person, but you living in a household with two other people plus he was bringing his daughter. So that was crazy to me. Um, and then what else? It was something else. Then he just kept interacting with those so-called relatives and stuff. when he was here, and I'm just like, I can deal with some of it because them are so-called relatives, but I'm not dealing with a lot of that because. And then I just watched how it, how it did affect him. Honey, all they had to do was turn up the music and feel like he got it. He would feel like he got to go to a party or whatever they was having over there, and I'm just like, oh no, 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 nobody. Just because you hear the sound of some kind of music, that's when you either better say, hey, this is too much for me. We need to go to a room. We need to go somewhere. And so for him to not know how to get away from stuff that not know how and or maybe not have the resources to go get away from stuff that would plague him, it was just that was too much. And then what was other stuff? Of course, again, just a lot of stuff. Of course, trying to involve in relatives, and I don't do that. When you trying to involve your relatives in my household and then in my personal life, because I'm not on that. Whether it's trying to expose me or whatever, I mean, and it could be in a good way or a bad way. It could be, oh, they don't need to know nothing because I don't deal with them directly, and I wasn't really trying to. When it came to my kids, that's the only thing, because my kids had, what I'm saying. But other than that, I wasn't trying to. Just because I was connected to him, I wasn't gonna do that because I definitely didn't trust none of them together, and didn't trust that whole thing. But the other time when he was like, he called his dad, he was at one point in time calling his dad Pops. He was like, Pops gonna come over here. And no, baby, I got a whole daughter up in here. It's not gonna be two strange men. It's already one strange enough, but it ain't gonna be two strange men from the same bloodline sitting up in here. I was like, he ain't coming over here. And it was around 9 something at night, and I'd be walking around with no clothes or my shirt, just something like that. And I was like, oh no, I'm not gonna even adjust to put on some clothes for him to come over here. And then I had already had a personal interaction with that man up close and personal when my first son was born, and he got all up in my personal space and stuff like that. I let him come in here and I let him see my son and stuff like that. And the first thing he said was, "Oh, my girl might get mad." What? Well, why did you step foot in my house, for one? For two, this is your grandson. What else are you trying to say? What are you hearing after that, honey? I didn't want to be nowhere with him by myself, and it wasn't even that I was really scared of him, because he was more of a, what I knew about him. He was more of a say crazy stuff type of man, and not more action. Now his son, which is the boy's so-called dad, he was more of the action behind closed doors, but but he tried it, and I was like, "Oh no, I'm not finna do this." Yeah, got to make sure you see him in broad daylight, but honey, even in broad daylight, he still was telling lies and doing deceitful stuff or whatever. So I was like, okay. And and I ain't gonna mention that part, but yeah. So he just up and left once I said no. Your dad. So it was just all the times where he would just, I'm leaving. I'm leaving because, well, he ain't even sometimes give me no reason, but he just leave, just dipped. And it's like, you got a child here with me, and you just think you think that's the respectful thing to do? Just leave because I don't want your dad sitting over here and you ain't respecting me? Heck no. And of course, at some points in time, my so-called parents was coming over here, but not much because I was kind of like branching off from them. um, it was mainly of course, my grandma when she was living, but no, he's not. Daddy not coming over here, and I got a daughter here and all that, and I know what type of rape spirit and stuff you got behind closed doors, which of course not regarding my daughter. Might have had a desire to, but none of that ever went down. But yeah, I know what type of stuff you got and whatever behind closed doors. So why would I have two like y'all up in here around me and around me, around my daughter, but let alone myself as well? And then now I got boys up in here. And of course, at the time my son was small. I think I only had the one. when he was saying this. I don't know, I might have had to, but anyway. And then so that's when he was like, oh, that's when he started saying, well, I can only deal with you for 30 days and then that's it. But he would still be coming around. He just might go reside somewhere else. And I was like, that is so damn stupid to me to be maintaining a whole nother place, but you're sleeping here mostly. And but you're not, but it's, of course it's not adding up. You're not paying here. You're paying at that place just to hold on to that. I don't know what, but is it to say you have something or what? For the sake of what? And so yeah, okay, I know my mind keep going to this thing that happened yesterday because I'm just disappointed because I'm imagining the conversations that's being had and stuff like that, which that's probably not good, but anyway, it just upset me, like it really did. But see, I'm not, and I did. I guess I was one of the people that responded with feelings, but at the same time, I did. I'm gonna just say that. But at the same time, it was still, I didn't do too much. I didn't do nothing just crazy or anything like that. So, but anywho, um, yeah. So, and again, to me, I just feel like even today with that disappointment, he contributed to even what happens to me and is, tries to show up in my life today. And I'm not trying to give him that credit, but I'm just saying, like, it was a lot of stuff that I feel like it could have been different had he made different moves and stuff like that. And, to me, not being so scared. And I didn't know that he was just like just like seemingly terrified at this point because I kept asking him, well, can you help me with this? And can you do this? And whatever. And I thought we voice when you need help about something, especially with somebody that you're up close and personal. And honestly, the main thing that he wanted from me, he was always wanting, food cooked or something to eat. And as much as I could, I helped him. Of course, as a mother, I'm gonna take care of my kids, but I helped him. And I guess it wasn't enough for him. And like I said, we never sat down and had this conversation. And honey, at this point, I don't even, because I don't want him to try to convince me of anything else. I wouldn't even want to sit face to face and talk to him or nothing like that. It would just be too much, yeah. Because the moment that he says anything to me, it sparks something. It could ignite something else or whatever. And I'm like, no. And then be like somewhat old times. We rarely laugh together, but to even get that feel of comfort. But knowing, honey, I'm with a whole damn wolf out here, a beast out here. So, and I'm not saying that's who he is today. He might be a different person, but probably the nature did not change. But anyway, so it was stuff like that. And of course, we might be outside. Something going on over here. His so-called dad got time to sit over there with his so-called sister, or his so-called, well, it was his aunt, but his dad's sister or whatever. Watch my house, watch what's going on, and then I'm out there talking, handling business with him, and there's so-called dad jumping in the middle of it and stuff. And thank God that's no longer going on. But also, what's no longer going on is me and him, period. Like, we're not, we just never, to me, we never got to have that opportunity with them not sitting there just watching. Of course, I'm not convinced that it was never meant to happen like that. Even though I look back and I'm like, it was kind of disorderly the way we met or whatever. I connected to him on social media. He claims we met through social media, but I connected to him on social media because I knew of him. I heard his name and stuff like that. And then right when I connected to him, I was moving over here and I didn't know that his people were staying across the street. Only God knew that. And directly across the street. Well, his so-called people, should I say. And so that was that or whatever. But and so there, we just never had that opportunity to really, even though I had my own house and stuff like that, we never had the opportunity to be alone because I guess he felt like they could X-ray vision through the walls or whatever the case may be. He just felt so connected to them and didn't want to like let them go. He would sit over there and allow them to, they'll talk about me or speak about me, and then he'll come and repeat it back to me what was said. He ain't gonna tell me who said what, but he'll repeat it, and then he'll portray it to me. He'll say it to me like it was the truth. It was just accusing me and stuff like that, and I was just like, oh, okay. So that's what they using you to do to come back over, and there ain't no way you gonna deliver messages. So baby, I got direct myself, and I made sure that the right people was gonna see whatever messages I had to say. Cause yep, sure enough, was waiting on the right time, and I ain't gonna lie. Cause baby, now you ain't gonna thug me like that. And so it became that thing where it was just like all of them almost, either all of them ganging up on me or either he'll he there was moments where he just want me to he'll use take my son in the house and then he'll cuss me out this and that. But he just was, I think, stricken with terror. And that's after that, that's when you just like, hey, I forgive you for not being ready, not feeling ready or equipped or whatever the case may be. And and all that, but I don't want to move forward with you on that because that took up so much time. And and of course, if I was to deal with him, which like I said, I do not intend on it, and I don't want to, I would want nothing but perfection. I would not want, and according to the way that I want to see it, I would not want you to miss a step or miss a beat or nothing. And you don't really want to put that pressure on nobody. Um, if you really truly care, if you really, you don't want to, or just period, you don't want to don't want to put that pressure on anybody who doesn't want that responsibility and stuff like that. Um, and then they, end up stressing themselves out and they're no good in other areas or whatever. But for him, that's all I would ever, I wouldn't want nothing less because it was far too much. It was the stuff that he did and said to me behind closed doors, and it was then you let the relatives come in and stuff like he didn't let them physically come in, but he would have eventually if I would have if I wouldn't have nipped certain stuff in the bud right then and there. It was just some stuff I was like, oh no, I can't do. It was some stuff that I kind of gave into that still led to troublesome times, but it was just definitely some stuff regarding them third parties. I was like, you can talk to your relatives over there, and you can entertain and engage them there, but not here. So I'm goody. And so yeah, that or whatever. I just I feel like I wouldn't be able to. I definitely know I don't feel like it and don't want to. But of course, I'm a woman that's here dealing with a lot of stuff, and I be wanting to have somebody to talk to and turn to. And I used to talk to him often, regular. He would give his input sometimes, but then he'll try to turn around and just kind of try to use it to his advantage, um, or to try to make matters worse or whatever. And just like I said, he would feel jealous about certain stuff. It's like he would like if I have issues with somebody, but if me and somebody is calm and cool, it seems like it's a problem. And of course, you definitely don't want nobody around you like that. Like, dang, you want me to have problems with people? Are you serious? And so, I mean, the list goes on regarding that whole thing with him. Like I said, baby, I be glad I don't have dreams about him. And that's why I say it be kind of shocking me when he do show up in my dreams as of lately. But don't creep back up in my dreams, baby. Leave me alone. No, 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 no. And I'll be feeling like, baby, your mama contributed and all the rest of what I just named, they contributed on you going somewhere else. So stay there. I used to tell him anytime I used to tell him before when he was saying he was on his way and stuff like that. And I'd be like, no, stay where you at. And it was time I had to just get stay. A lot of times, of course, I still let them come, but it was those times when I had to be a woman of my word, and I was like, nope, stay where you at, because I'm not opening this door. You gonna open the door. You gonna open it. And I was just, and trying to butter me up and stuff like that. But I mean, that shit was just, it was toxic, and I did not, I knew it was toxic. I ain't gonna sit here in front. I knew that it was bad things going on. Um, I'm not gonna front on that part, but I just thought that I was supposed to endure that and just go. I really did believe that I'm supposed to endure this. I'm supposed to deal with this, and really not really complain too much about it. But honey, I still complained all the way through. I had people I was talking to, but I'm glad that's not present in my life to where I had to sit down every day and talk to my sons, about their so-called dad or say some stuff to them about him. Because I really don't want to be talking bad about him. I did want to state the facts and tell truth and stuff. And also because I got sons, and I'm like, it's certain stuff that I don't want showing up in y'all that he was doing, and it's just for real. And it could be the same way for him. There's certain stuff in your mom I don't want showing up in y'all or whatever. But that's the thing. You should have thought about that before you had a child with me, children with me, and not just one. You had two. um, and yeah, I guess you should have chose better or wiser or whatever when it comes to that. So, but yeah, mm, I gotta go back and look at again that dream that his daughter's mom was in. Yeah, and honey, I'm reminded that this is that man's birth month. This is also a month where, of course, he lost his brother by his dad, his younger brother by his dad on the day before his birthday. Ain't no coincidence. Like, he'll always have to remember that for whatever reason God allowed him. Or, to me, I feel like, oh well, not for the brother being deceased. I mean that part too, but I'm talking about the fact that you got to be reminded of that every time, every time. Right, the day before your birthday. Then next thing you know, you're going up in age. But yeah, it was tough with that man, and that was another thing. I liked the toughness of it, but I thought that he would apply that period, like overall. I thought that's like who he was. It seemed like he was, and it seemed like he, you know what I'm saying. But it was just times when I felt like he didn't portray that toughness when it was needed. So I was like, I don't know what you got going on. Something is just backwards, or something ain't right. And I'm like, And he definitely, of course, had the actor spirit. What is this? Anyway, it was a phone call, but it was a voicemail supposed to be. But he had the actor spirit, where he can pretend well, and to the point where he wanted me to start pretending with him and stuff like that. And you know what I'm saying, and acting like something was something real. and and I was like, no, I can only do the real. I don't wanna do that with you. Or I just didn't feel comfortable enough to be acting with him or nothing like that. I'm not gonna do that. I felt very comfortable enough being real with him, and now let's do what's real. But and that's why I say whoever, decided to act with him, I would say first, let's act, let's do this, I guess that's fun and stuff until stuff really do get real. Then what? You rely on your acting skills. Boy, when I tell you Hollywood Divas and that darn Paula Jai Parker, now she was something. I just could never really tell when she turned her acting off. She was such a good actress, but she was so dramatic and stuff like that. It was funny to watch, but it was kind of scary. Like, ooh, girl. No, 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 no. What did I feel like I had a dream about? I don't know if I feel like I had a dream that somebody that I knew of lost a child or something like that. I don't know. I don't know, maybe that's just my thoughts, or I don't know how that came up. But yeah, dude was something else, honey. He was something else, and he definitely was something special at one point in time, and I can acknowledge that without even going too deep. And I'm gonna leave it at that. He was definitely something special, and like I told him before, he was amazing to me in so many ways. So it like about the overall amazement, if that's a word. But then yeah, that other stuff that. But yeah, that other stuff, it's so funny because I just clicked on my son's. I ain't gonna do it again. I clicked on my son's Messenger Kids and I saw a picture of me and the boys of so-called dad. When I was pregnant with my younger son and we was there, and it seemed like I thought then I just was like, oh Lord, we so right for each other. And I was still thinking that, and this is our second son. Why did I have to even still be feeling like that as opposed to like living like that? I don't know, but that's what it was, and kind of pissed me off or whatever. That I felt like I was on 51st dates, like I had to remind him all the time, I really care for you. It's like something in his brain would just whatever forget, and of course he he ultimately just went somewhere else. And so anyway, February 14th, 2020, some during where I was riding on a bus or something, and I may have seen this person named Angela, and she mouthed something, and her eyes looked dim lit or different color. We were on the right side, and then there was the boys' so-called dad's first daughter's mom. She was on the left side and sitting beside someone else. Someone else was between us, not sure who, and I was talking to the Angela person something. I was telling Angela something, and old girl said one of my messages came to her about something about a virgin, and I was like hitting her in a gentle type of way, saying, y'all could have told me, as y'all could have told me he was like this. Her hair was braided. Baby, I still to this day feel like, damn, y'all def. If I would have heard a lot more from his daughter's mom, I would have listened into a key. Listening to them relatives, no, not so much. Honey, if anybody was to sit down with me and be like, yeah, girl, this, what's the tea? Um, let's go here. Not going there. And there's people problem here and probably anywhere. Y'all know too much about each other. When ultimately everybody's doing most of the similar thing or something like the same thing, but you just be feeling like you're gonna miss something if you don't work in another area. So spend too much time invested in, to me, the wrong areas. But anyway, had a dream that referenced the name Lynn. I don't know what that is. April 24th, 2021. I had another dream about a Lynn a few months ago. The name Lynn or Lynn keeps coming up, or the reference. I don't know who or what that is. The only Lynn's I know is certain ones. In the dream today, the person who was being referenced as Lynn was also called Julynn, like July with Lynn. Someone's aunt, a female, was saying that that's her aunt, and I saw the picture on a paper, and it appeared to be this person's younger sister. I forgot her name. Her son delivered my pizza yesterday. Oh yeah, I pray God reveal and keep me ahead of the enemy. I hope he doesn't catch up, but I hope I do remember when someone had already told some such and such about me at a gathering who I was, because he asked me about um they asked me about my child would do plus his um plus referenced his daughter, and of course it was still reconfirmed because years later, of course, if you're the grandparent of somebody, more than likely not gonna change, of course, unless the blood tests and stuff come back. But the opposite. But years later, I was like, yeah, I remember seeing you at such and such, and I wanted to know at that point in time, now who been talking to you about me? Because at the time I definitely wasn't paying attention to that. I seen it and he was talking to me, and I just wanted to speak to him or whatever. But who actually? And so that's when I realized, oh Lord, this whole neighborhood honey be talking and mentioning me. They ain't talking to me about nobody else, but they mentioning me though. So y'all invested in something that y'all almost want to say you ain't gonna never like my like the boys, not mine, but the boys so called dad was saying, you'll never get to the bottom of endless. Like that was just crazy to me, but it was still, I was like, oop, and I oop. But like it's basically like y'all will never figure me out because you're too you it's not y'all place. Like I don't feel like it is anyway. But anyway, um, but somebody had already told him about me, and so I said, I don't know who all got ties or whatever. Anyway, I'm not gonna read no more of that part. I just was looking back at that dream. It just happened April of this year. And that dream came right before, of course, the boys' so-called dad stopped contributing. Like after that, he didn't. But thank God I haven't received any court papers regarding that. But I don't know what's going on with that case or anything like that. And I was telling myself, I was like, no, girl, I don't want no parts of whatever you got going on. I ain't trying to team up with you to come against him. I wasn't never trying to team up with her to come against him, but at one point in time, I was just like leaning to more to her side and stuff like that, but I still wasn't, I still wasn't going to do the disorderly thing and just try to talk too much about him behind his back with her or anything like that. I just kind of listened and stuff like that, so. So that was that, but, let me see, at the, I forgot I even went to parenting classes, and I was also around and me supposed to be trying to fight for custody for my child and stuff like that. Of course, I feel like I paid for that, which I'm not. I don't feel like it's a total and complete loss, but I feel like I paid for that, and they didn't help me, they didn't do anything. So all of that to me is just a sham, because at this moment in time, my daughter is off with her so-called dad, and he's calling himself, raising her, whatever the case may be, and Although he's doing stuff that she likes or wants, he's not, to me, he's still not necessarily doing things that she needs at all. So, well, I'm not gonna say at all. I'm not watching that closely, but it just, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being your kid's friend. And maybe in some parallel universe you're supposed to. See, I just don't want to admit to that. But maybe you're supposed to sit and be your friend, your child's friend first. I don't know. It almost make it seem like that's what you're supposed to do. But I just don't feel that. I didn't feel the need to do that. I felt the need to be mom. And, you know, that was it. That was the drive that was in me. And I wasn't trying to do it in a tyrant type of way. But anyway, okay, I'm done with reading these dreams about this person or whatever. And I'm pretty much done talking about that. I just was thinking to myself some stuff. Um, oh yeah, and I took notice of the people who didn't respond or say anything to me when I presented an issue, and I tried to just say, you know what, maybe, God told him to be silent about this stuff. I don't know, but maybe hopefully God told him to be silent, but it was just the fact that when they reached out to me and asked me stuff, then, you know, I didn't have an issue responding back, and that's from my mistrust for the black community and just, of course, people in general, but I'm talking about the ones that I'm around. It's continued because I had already stopped trusting people, but when it was people that, never mind. I don't want to get off into that. I'm done.